Okay, I think that worked. So, hello, YouTube. I'm gonna wait for Ben to show up, and then we can start properly. Hey, Wes, where are you based again?
California.
Oh, I can't hear you very well.
Oh, sorry. Let me make sure my mic and everything is set properly. It is. Do I just need to speak up maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, okay. Well, Los Gatos, so South Bay area.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Do I have any control over your audio? No. Okay. Anyway, yeah. How's the weather there in Los Gatos?
It is good, but it is a little bit chilly for my taste.
What does chili mean for
Yeah, I
Bay?
know. I don't even, it's embarrassing for me to even call this chilly. So
Yeah.
it's in the 50s.
Mm.
So, but yeah, I've still not adapted fully yet from having lived in Texas for so long. So
Yeah. Where Austin or
yeah.
who'd you work for there?
It was a startup. It was like a video streaming startup that I was at for a few years. And before it was a pivot, but before that it was like a music video website. So it wasn't live, but it was still video. So
Right.
yeah.
I hope our YouTube viewers are enjoying our small talk, if there are any YouTube viewers. But I have a repairman from IBM in my dining room fixing my MacBook.
So they came out to you?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Which is yeah, I don't know. It's just like it's like enterprise Apple Care, and then it's like IBM actually does the repair. I don't know how it works, but it's pretty fancy. So you know, especially as a person who lives very far from any reasonable IBM office, you know, and it's nice to have somebody come up here, even though the poor guy had to come up from Salem, which is like an hour drive. So, whoops. Well.
So maybe can we have something that's not small talk? I have a question. I've been meaning
Sure.
to ask about this, and maybe I'm just missing something. Process replacement. I feel like, did we talk about this at the was there an issue for this somewhere, or like?
Yeah.
Where am I missing? I was trying to find it the other day, and now I can't remember where that was.
I feel like, was it Brian English who was advocating this at one point?
Yes. So
yeah,
I
he had
mean,
a POC, right?
Right. He had a POC a long
where was
time
that?
ago, and I'm not sure where that is. And then I know Rui brought it up, and he's like, you know, this would be nice to have. So
Yeah.
I thought at one point, Roy, do you have his POC?
I might have it linked somewhere, but yeah, not right now.
Okay. If you don't, I think I may have asked him for it at one point, and I can
Oh,
find
maybe
it.
we have it in this issue. I think we have an open issue for it in the tooling repo.
Yeah,
that's what I was looking for, but
yeah, I'm not sure we actually have an issue, like a tracking issue for this, so maybe we should make one.
Right.
Anyway, Wes, is there more to that question, or?
No, I would like to see what people have done for this, but I'm interested in implementing this if I can, for a experiment that I'm working on. So
that would be amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would help a lot for, like, one of the things I'm looking at is some like writing some shims for stuff. So in at Netflix, we're trying to figure out what our story is going to be for some global management or central management of some of the workflows people do and configurations, and being able to shim and then process replace if we need to would be I think a pretty good workflow. But I haven't figured out how to do that without just like writing some bash or something. Well, so that's probably what I'm going to do for the time being, but I'd love to see if there's a good story around this in Node.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, we'll figure that out. Wes, are you gonna want to talk about like import maps at some point?
Is it, do we, oh God. I mean, sure. Have you've been following that issue?
Not, no. I mean, I saw that you sent, so Wes sent a pull request, I think it was.
No, I just opened an issue on the modules. I would like to follow with some pull requests, but after the contention that happened with is happening with this, you were definitely right. I had much too high hopes.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Yeah. So
I
I could talk about it if you want, but go ahead, Ben. Sorry.
was just going to ask. I missed I saw your comments, but I missed the contention. Is just there's not 100% agreement on how it's implemented yet?
No, it's whether or not it should ever be implemented in Node. There's question on the fact that it's not implemented in browsers yet. There's questions that it's a WHATWG standard, which looks to be insurmountable as far as Bradley Meck is concerned.
Wasn't URL a WHATWG standard?
Yeah, I don't know. Yes.
Okay.
So that's why I say I asked, what can we do to change this? And he said, I don't know. I don't think there is anything you can do. I'm like, well, then I don't know.
Did Bradley Meck also implement URL? This is all right. Anyways.
Yeah. Well, that might be why he has this opinion.
Okay.
I think he has some bad experience with them. So we'll have to see if there's a way around that. Then the thing, I presented this, was that yesterday, Rory, that we chatted?
Yeah.
So I built a proof of concept of how NPM could build these, and built a loader that would consume them. And then I pulled out some of that work, and that's what I posted in that issue, which I think would be interesting it would definitely be a tooling topic if Node Core decided to support it, because then we would need to figure out how all the tools would then consume and or generate them properly, to make, so like for, if we had a testing tool that needed to discover things, it would probably need to respect them. There's all sorts of things that I think would be affected, but none of that really matters unless we can get support behind it and the modules working group, I think. So yeah, anyway, that's my story on that right now, unless y'all want to talk about the technical details of how it works, but I don't know if that helps.
No, I'm good. I was just kind of wondering if there was something you wanted to bring up. But yeah, maybe we can like swing back to that if we have time or something. So the first issue here is issue 51. We're trying the module reloading stuff. Brian English was looking at this sort of thing, and he found an interesting workaround involving it doesn't work, but I mean it's like because it leaks memory, but you can essentially like instantiate new loader instances and like abuse that mechanism to load like load an ESM module multiple times, but it's just, again, it's like it's leaky, so it's not something anybody could really use at this point. We need something that allows you to just dump the module somehow. And I don't know what I mean, Wes, you're probably in the modules. Are you in the modules working group?
No, I'm not. I probably should join it, but I'm hesitant because I'm doing too much already in it. So, yeah.
So what I don't understand is what that, like what that implementation. I mean, I don't know what the nitty gritty of the spec is, but you know, if that implementation is something like, okay, once you have this module loaded, it creates this like this graph, and if you remove it from the graph, everything breaks. Like, or if you remove that module from the graph, like, do all of the modules that it depends on get removed? Like, what happens when that happens? And I have no idea. So, I mean, those are, you know, that's like things that somebody needs to figure out or know about. But again, Brian was looking at this. I don't know if he's made any more progress on it. Should follow up with him. And so that's probably what I'm going to do. Does anybody else have anything they want to talk about on this particular topic? All right. Meeting at OpenJSF Summit. This should not be on the agenda. Let's just skip that. So this was issue 44, which
should we just close that issue?
Yeah,
it seems like there's nothing really to follow up on, right?
It needs to be closed. But yeah, I don't know if even if it's open, or it might even be closed and it just has the tag. I don't know, but
no, it's open. Did you get contacted from them to provide the notes for video? Because they contacted me about the, I think, package maintenance and one.
Shit. Sorry. Pardon my cussing. Issue 44 follow up after summit meeting. Right. Yes, they contacted me and they asked for the notes. And since I actually took reasonable notes, I sent my notes to them. And that's about all I got. So, yeah, that's all I know. But yes, this should be closed. All right, so let's just move on that one. So a better way to detect processes exiting. This is issue 42, and it's, I don't know what's going on with this. It might be just a Corey thing, and right now, and I don't know. I have no further information. Does anyone else?
No, I don't really have any information, but I think it would be good for maybe Corey to, I think we talked in the last meeting, maybe trying to move forward with a reference implementation, which I think would be good next steps. Maybe wait for Corey to be available again.
All right. Okay, cool. So the next one is source map version 3 support. Ben, this is what's going on with this here? Anything?
It is landed. So we've landed an experimental version of it. I saw a patch from someone today addressing out of bounds issues, which is kind of cool. It's not likely to hit situation, but it shows people are actually eyeballing it.
Just a sec. I gotta pause, but you go ahead, Ben. I'll be right back.
Okay, and then the only other thing I was going to say is I did talk to, I was testing it out with Express, and I was having a conversation with Doug Wilson about trying to get it working with Express, and it turned out I was wrong. It does work with Express already as soon as we fixed that bug that was making Express throw exceptions. So it actually, we tested it and it works with Express. So next steps for me, I guess the question's kind of for Chris, unfortunately, I don't know where he's gone.
I'm back.
But I was thinking maybe, like, I feel like we have this feature now, but it's not very, the community doesn't know we have it. So like, I was thinking, I don't know if you'd be open to it, Wes, maybe adding a little blurb in the docs somewhere for Express and say, if you're running TypeScript, you have this option available to you.
Yeah, that would be great. Do you have an example that I can pull in as the, Yeah, that'd be sweet. Yeah, send that,
Yeah,
and
I made
I'll
one
open a PR.
I made one to show how it didn't work, and then it just demonstrated how it worked. So
Is that example in the issue?
I'll add the example right now. But it turned out it worked for Express. So I would like to maybe go out to a few runtimes and be like, hey, you have this available to you for introspection. But what I was wondering is, a few years ago, I wrote a blog post for Node, and I think I used Medium, and I just kind of wrote up about coverage, basically. I was wondering if there's still like PR facilities on the Node project.
So I don't know about Medium.
Okay.
But I think that yes, there's somebody that could help you if you want to write something on Medium. I do have access to a dev.to account. I don't know if that's actually being used yet, but it's like an official Node one. I think we should use it. But yeah, so
cool. I feel like we're far enough along with the source map stuff. I'd like to write a little article talking about it.
awesome.
Maybe I'll wait until we get a few more people. I'd love to have a few folks in the community like report bugs or whatnot, but maybe the way to do that is to write a post about it and let people know.
No, it'd be good to see something like, yeah, this is the thing. Go try it, and I would read that and I would use it. So
yeah, I think I was excited to try to make it work for Express because I knew that was a popular runtime, and now that I know it works, I'm more excited to evangelize it.
We've done a few through the package maintenance working group. I'm trying to find a good link there, and I know that Michael Dawson knows how to publish there. So
cool. So all right, that gives me some actionable information. I'll talk to Michael Dawson.
About which?
I don't know.
About publishing
things.
Yeah, publishing on that. I think he publishes on the official blog. These things we built. So let me find it. I'll find a link and I'll send it.
Sounds good. And I linked the kind of demonstration of TypeScript working, which was supposed to show it not working. But, yeah, but I don't know. I'm excited. I think it's a win. I think it will be maybe a few months before we see a lot of adoption. But with the coverage stuff, I'm just starting to see a lot of adoption now, and we're like 2 or 3 years in. So I think it's just patience. I'm excited. Lots of people use TypeScript.
I just posted a link to one of the blog posts we published. So it is on Medium, and it's on the Node.js Medium. So
cool.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any other action items. I created an open issue to try to see if we could bring some of Chromium's. Chromium has actually a more up-to-date implementation of a source map loader than V8. But I started looking at Chromium's, and it has a lot of dependencies. So I was kind of thinking of closing my issue and saying, let's just address issues if we run into them. The only thing I saw Chromium did that we don't do that we probably should is it sorts the source maps in order of their position in the code base, I guess. And Corey said that he could take advantage of this for some of the stuff he wants to do. So it looks like Corey had asked for this, and then I noticed Chromium does it. So it must be that they realized it was beneficial before V8 downstreamed it. So yeah, but that's it. Features there, play with it.
Cool. All right. Argument parsing. Anything going on here yet?
Nope, not from my side.
It is what it is. So, okay, that just kind of.
I would be willing to, let me look at my calendar. I would potentially, Roy, be willing to just do a hacking session next Friday for an hour in the afternoon or something.
Right, that'd be cool, yeah.
If we think we could both make an hour in our calendar, because I'm excited about this, but it's,
Yeah.
I'm not going to do any work unless I carve out work for it. So I don't know, I'd be open to that.
Yeah, yeah. If you can reach me, I'm usually on the Twitter or in a bunch of Slacks. I think we are in a couple of like same shared Slacks. You can try to reach me in one of these.
Cool. Yeah, I was kind of picturing like maybe like just write a design doc, even if it like pair on it and then float it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah.
Yeah, all right, I'd be into that.
Cool.
Are we excluding anyone? Did anyone else want to be involved? They'll probably end up with too many cooks if we're not careful, but if anyone's excited.
I might be interested in that. So, am I
Okay.
muted? No.
Yeah. So I guess what I'm kind of picturing is similar to what we've done in the past, but just force ourselves to write a little design doc with the minimum features, and then maybe use that as a reference implementation, and then just do it.
All right. Well, just let me know, and I'll make some time to do it. All right. So sweet. That sounds fun. Next thing on the list of things is support for hooking spawn and spawn sync without patching. Again, this is a Corey thing. Does anybody else have anything to say about this?
My only opinion is that I have this in place for coverage right now, and I would love to move to a userland one if we had it available, and away from having it be a special snowflake. So.
Wait, you have it in place for coverage? What does that mean?
I mean, when I landed that PR, we added a special environment variable that's sticky, so that you can test sub processes.
In Node?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this would be basically taking that and making it something that's blessed, so that other people could use this sticky environment variable approach. And it's really valuable for tooling, because you can be like, I want to get monitoring information for this process plus all its sub processes, even if someone in their unit tests is blowing away the environment. So it's this like class of sticky environment variables that are harder to unset. Really valuable for tooling. Also potentially harmful, I guess, too. So,
and
I would definitely
it's
use
just
this.
not exposed, or
the way we did it with coverage is this special variable called node_v8_coverage, and it gets maintained in a subprocess even if you cleared out the environment argument. But you can unset it. So there's a mechanism to unset it, but by default, it's a little stickier than the default environment variables. So I think Corey's argument was it would be good to have this for other types of tooling where you want to make sure, even if someone's writing unit tests, that it trickles down to that thing being instrumented by your unit test. Even it's a common pattern in unit tests that you just give a very minimal environment in your spawn. So you're not actually trying to clear the environment. You're just trying to have a minimum number of variables set for whatever you're testing. But it's surprising to you that now you don't have monitoring, or now you don't have logging, or now you don't have coverage or something. So this was kind of meant to address that in a general way for users.
Mm.
But we've had it in Node. We've had it for this one thing in Node for 2 years now, probably, I think, and it hasn't created any real stirs. So I don't think it's really stepped on anyone's toes. I could imagine if a bunch of people were doing it for more common environment variables, though, like you start to get in this world where maybe you're breaking unit tests or so. I don't know. It could be. I could see where it could be a problem too.
all right.
It would need to be a discussion, I think. And maybe it has to be only certain prefixes can do it, like node prefix or something.
I think as a general so I've been sort of in this space and I didn't realize this work had been going on. So forgive my ignorance on what has already been done, but I've been working on a few things similar to what this is doing. And I think that as a general purpose tool, there are reasons you might want to do this. So again, I mentioned I've been working on how we can centrally manage configuration for Node and other tools in the JavaScript ecosystem here. And one of the things I've been working on is getting in between the users and the tool and setting environment variables and that as a way to manage configuration. So I think as a general purpose tool, there's certain reasons why this might be nice to expose, not just through node_ variables or anything like that. But I see the concern. I definitely, you could risk making it really hard to debug where that is coming from. Yeah.
All right.
I think Ben, are you muted? You're talking.
What's that?
Oh, it looked like Ben was talking. I thought he was muted.
Oh, whoops. I didn't realize I was muted. I just pasted the snippet of code that does that for coverage, just so people can see.
Okay, cool. And that's in the Google Doc right now. Cool. So the next thing is Ben says there's some recursive maker bugs. So what is this?
Isaac reported a couple of recursive bugs yesterday. One is related to it not populating path in an error situation, which is actually reported in another thread. And the other one was related to it returning a no exist instead of a permission error when I think you're trying to create a folder in a folder you don't have permission to create a folder within. So I don't know. I just was bringing that up. I might honestly see later this afternoon if I have the energy and willingness to take a look. But I haven't looked at that in a couple of years, so it's like. Yeah. Hopefully it's not a huge bug, but if it's like super nitty gritty, I don't know. It could be like a 2-second fix and it could be a giant pain. So,
right.
But I'll try to look this afternoon, but I'll maybe bring it to the next tooling meeting as something someone else could pick up if I'm not finding I have enough time, because it could be something good for someone wanting to get a first time contribution to Node or something.
Okay. Well, I would say if you're not going to be able to get to it or something, ping the group.
Cool. Sounds good.
All right. Cool. So we're at about a half hour, and this is everything that we had on the agenda. Not a whole lot of attendees today. Some of the regulars couldn't make it. So is there anything anybody else would like to bring up at this time, or should we get our half hour back?
Yeah, I had one more thing, actually.
All right.
Yeah, actually, I'm just starting to work on the work to support workspaces on NPM. So if anyone else from the group, I'm already in touch with Wes. If anyone else wants to participate, just book a time to have some conversation. Right now, I'm just sourcing ideas. I'm having talks with a bunch of people from the community. So if anyone wants to at least talk, just reach me.
So this is okay. So this is workspaces, meaning can you define this?
Meaning, we basically want to support what Yarn provides today, but also take a couple of things from Lerna. So right now, I'm actually like in the design phase. I'm trying to design what we actually want to support. So it's really it's really the inception phase. So it is a great time, I guess, for anyone from the tooling group to actually come out, give ideas.
Can you kind of give a high level overview of what you're trying to do? I know you mentioned, Yarn and Lerna, but what exactly is this from Yarn? What exactly are you looking at from Lerna? I mean, it sounds to me like this is going to end up being better support for, monorepos, but what does that mean? I don't actually know what Yarn workspaces do because I don't use Yarn, so lay it on me, man.
Yeah, so it's basically better support to the monorepo story. So basically people have this use case where they want to kind of tie together a bunch of packages. They want to modularize, they want to have separate packets, but they want to manage it all in a single place, right? A single project. So usually they have a single Git repo and a bunch of subfolders, which they call the workspaces, right? So it's more or less that. So the package, like each workspace can be a single package that later on can be reused elsewhere, right? So that's kind of like more or less the overall idea. So kind of Yarn already paved the way by providing basic implementation in a package in a package maintainer, right? So we're kind of following the lead on Yarn on at least the basic support. We'll probably copy some things from their APIs, but there is also Lerna, which is a big open source project that tackles the same problem of managing monorepos.
So the
So I
one
had a
thing
talk.
well, the one thing Lerna does that is sort of different here is it's not doing any package resolution logic really. It's relying on the tools, NPM and Yarn to do that for it. Right. So Lerna just is like some workflow things for managing a bunch of packages in a single repo. And then it calls out to the underlying tools for when it needs to actually like install and resolve packages.
Yeah, and as a
thinking maybe, but that's about it.
Yeah, I had a good chat with Daniel Stockman from Lerna, from the Lerna project, the maintainer there, and yeah, we had a great conversation. Yeah, ideally, he does a bunch of stuff to actually support the NPM use case, because right now we don't support workspaces. So by implementing that, we'll be taking a lot of the heavy load from Lerna, so that they actually can just like shell to Yarn and NPM to do the heavy lift of managing the packets. And they can focus on like things like publishing, all the multiple packets, managing their version. Yeah, so that's basically the idea of it. So I've been reaching out to all these folks. I know Wes, we just spoke yesterday. But that answers your question, Chris. Is that a better overview?
I mean, okay, so the short answer to your question is no. But I mean, what I'm trying to understand is, so I use NPM, I use Lerna, I have a mono repo. I don't understand what, like, I mean, I could go Google this stuff, sure, but like, what do Yarn workspaces give you?
Wait. You say you use all that?
I use Lerna. I have
Okay.
mono repos. I use NPM though, so I don't use Yarn, so I don't understand what workspaces are.
Oh, from the Yarn perspective.
Yeah.
Right. I guess it's just it would be just the API design, like from a user point of view, having the thing built into NPM rather than Lerna.
So maybe I can jump in here a little bit. So what Yarn Workspaces does is when you have a package JSON that has a key of workspaces, which is an array of paths, it goes and hoists the modules out of all of those paths and up to your top level. So it does the version, resolution logic, and will, like normally when you npm install in directory, right? npm does that for you, hoists as much up as it can. Yarn Workspaces takes it another level and treats it like one whole project, where if you had a package JSON at the top and all the dependencies of the top are your workspaces, it then takes and hoists another level up. So that's the technical details of what Yarn Workspaces does. Does that make sense?
And so, I mean, if you're using Lerna and you're saying there's like a flag or something to like hoist, isn't there?
I think that links.
I think so.
Oh, does it hoist?
Yeah, I don't use it because it seems like kind of hinky, but like, yeah, it seems like it would try to do something like that for you. I don't know, like dedupes or something weird. Anyway, but it sounds like what you're describing is just like kind of makes it easier to work with that stuff. I mean, Lerna without workspaces is okay. There are some pain points. So, I mean, if it makes that experience better, great. So, but I still don't want to touch Yarn with a 10-foot pole. So, anyway,
so
cool.
I've expressed some of these to Rory, but I think I started talking a little bit about this at the Collab Summit as well. I really do think there's a space for something in between these. I don't know. So I'm working a little bit on some of this sort of on the side, but I haven't had time to polish anything up. And you know, Lerna is great if you're in a mono repo, but like I'm almost never in a mono repo, so like I can't use it. But I still have some of the concerns that and also I don't use Yarn, so like I'm in this place where I have, you know, when I want to link a bunch of packages together because I'm working on them together, I have to go and, you know, set up a bunch of links, which has a bunch of caveats and issues and stuff. So I think, and I expressed this to Rory, I think we need something else that builds on top of these. And I hope that we can have the package managers exposing their internals in such a way that building on top of them doesn't mean re-implementing all of the logic that they already have built. So, you know, so Isaac is working on Arborist. I built an example of this I have workspaces on top of Arborist, but I think we could go like a lot further than that. And I'd love to see, and I said this and I challenged Rory a little bit and said, hey, think bigger. You know, but I think that if we, you know, if there's help there that would help you think bigger without having to overcommit and have to try to deliver on something that you can't timeline wise, you know, maybe that's something where we could, I'd be willing to help. And then maybe if we can get, you know, some eyes on it from this group to say like, yeah, that looks useful, or, well, no, there's a lot of problems with that approach. You know, I think that might be something I'd be interested in doing, participating in at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah. So to clarify, Chris, I'm not a monorepo user at all. So I have never used Yarn Workspaces nor Lerna. So that's why I'm reaching to the group. Like, if you're interested, I would love to hear your opinions on it. So it seems like you are a user. So if you're free, if you have some time during the week, I'd love to connect. Yeah. So I just, because right now I'm kind of in this research phase during this week. So I had a chat with Daniel, I had a chat with Vas. I have a couple more user story interviews lined up for next week. So right now I'm still in that phase, right? So I want to make sure I get an API that will make most of the users happy, right? That's what I want to achieve here.
I would happily chat as well. I'm a monorepo user, but I'm in a similar position to Chris, where I've heard the term workspaces thrown around for years, and all I want is a folder called packages that magically works like that. And I don't really know what a workspace is. I think it's kind of insider baseball about, like you say, hoisting or something. So I don't care about that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I just want it to magically work. So as a user, it should just magically be a bunch of packages inside of a packages folder.
Yeah, something better than just a bunch of NPM links and everything breaks when you change something and you're like, yeah.
I mean, I get it in like that it's symlinking between the different dependencies and whatnot, and there's magic.
So I have a question. Has Mail ever reached out to you all at NPM about some of this stuff on their side? On Yarn side, that is.
Sorry, who?
Mail, the maintainer of Yarn. I don't know, is that how you say his name? M-A-E-L, I think.
Yeah, right. Not sure.
Okay. So in that, maybe this does relate a little bit to the import maps. So in that issue, I did offhandedly mention the work I showed you, which is this like implementation of workspaces using import maps instead. And he called that out and said, well, there's much better ways to do this. And he was like, and then he presented 2 Yarn specific concepts. And I'm like, okay, but that doesn't have, like, you made these up. Like, these aren't specs. These aren't anything.
Yeah.
Like I want to work on us coming to some central thing that every tool can build toward, you know, and we're not just like saying, oh yeah, use Internet Explorer, it works there. Like, we know how that goes. Right. So he has these 2 concepts, portals, and I guess the other one is links, right? I think it's portals and links. And I think it'd be interesting, you know, they're interesting concepts. They're related to workspaces in that the Yarn v2 work looks like it's going to be using these quite heavily. and one of the big things that I think is really problematic with this approach that they're taking, and I don't know how to fix it because I just don't want to necessarily work on Yarn, so that's whatever. But if they do this, these are in the package JSON as dependencies, right? So your dependency declaration will have a, hello package, hello world package with it. The actual specifier is workspace : / something, like a path in the workspace or something like that. And how we're going to reconcile that between Yarn and NPM users is just, it's like a disaster as far as I'm concerned. Like, I don't see that as a good way. And portals are similar, unless NPM and Yarn can come to, the CLIs can come to a convergence on that, then maybe it's fine. Like, the feature is good. It's just the proprietary, and it's not obviously proprietary because it's open source, but like we're going to go our own way and be totally incompatible, to me is going to be really problematic for our user base. Well, it's already problematic because people can't switch to NPM without workspaces. And this would just add a whole bunch of other hurdles, So I don't know. Maybe
Yeah,
there's a way to collaborate, but go ahead.
Yeah, there's a very good point, because I just saw, with the announcement of Yarn 2 today, there is a bunch of new stuff, right? They added. And yes, I guess it will be a good idea to try to reach out.
Assuming you can get good collaboration there. If, again, people matter here. And if the people aren't willing to be, working together, then it doesn't, you can reach out all you want, it's not going to achieve anything.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to do there, but.
Give me 1 second, I'll be right back.
Sure.
So anyway, that relates to the workspaces, in that if you did support this like portal concept, which again, naming, I don't know, whatever. This is why I think it shouldn't be in the package manager, because I think Yarn is trying to do a ton of stuff, and people adopted it like it was a package manager, and now it's like this whole workflow tooling thing. And so, like, for people like me who are trying to figure out how we're going to support users at my company, it makes it really, really difficult, right? Because I'm obviously not going to be able to say no. Like, I'm not going to go tell them, no, you can't have this, but I need a solution that I can trust, and that is going to be a good long-term commitment. And I don't think we're at that state yet with, unfortunately, either of the package installers. And it's from NPM side, it's only because it doesn't have workspaces today, at least. If everybody starts jumping on Yarn v2, then maybe it's going to be other features. But really, the only one that's like blocking me from saying no, just use NPM, it's better, I promise, is workspaces today. So, not to put more pressure on you.
Yeah.
All right, I'm back. My computer's fixed, yay. Roy, yeah, I would love to give you some feedback.
Awesome.
So, I mean, you can try to schedule a meeting with me or whatever if you just want to chat or whatever you want to do. But I am in the boat of, I use monorepos, I use NPM, and Lerna, and I have I don't know if I have ideas for solutions, but I can tell you about pain points for sure.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'll definitely reach out to you on Slack and find some time next week that can work for both of us.
All right.
Cool.
Okay, so cool. Anything else we want to chat about?
That's it for me.
All right.
See folks in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Sounds good. All right. Well,
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, everybody, for coming to this tooling meeting, and we'll chat with you in a couple weeks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.